So you go ready?
I think he. All right.
There's no.
Would you join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Yep. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under some pledge of allegiance, indivisible, justice for all.
That was kind of some strange. Sorry, that was a little strange. Okay.
Somebody out in the crowd. Yeah, thank you, John.
Yeah.
That was loose.
Yeah, it's mixing it up a little bit. So, oh, good evening. We've got a full house this evening. So,
Never seen.
we're going to start off this evening before we get into board business. We have two public hearings. We can open the first public hearing is for Barn Door Baking Company for an on-site premises licensing for liquor license, correct?
You just want to note moving the executive session to the.
Yeah, I'll make it. Yeah, sorry about that. We do have on our agenda, there's an executive session. It was second on the agenda. That's going to be at the end of we'll get through board business, just there's people here, so to move stuff around. So, but we'll try to move through everything. We don't have a lot on the agenda. We'll move through as quick as we can here. So, but we'll start with, Barn Door Baking Company. Is anyone here from Barn Door? Would you like to come up? Do you have anything to add? I mean, I don't know. It's a public hearing, so yeah. Yeah. Put you on the spot. Sorry. Yeah. Does anybody, any questions from the board or anybody in the audience? Oh, yeah. Could you do mind just with the, just state your name and yeah, so we can get you on record. So,
It's Andrea Leck
Andrea.
and from Barn Door Baking Company. We're going to be opening a restaurant at 212 Main Street.
Yep. Be good to see a spot.
Yeah.
Open back up.
That'd be
again.
great.
Yeah.
We're very excited.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Not hearing any other questions, comments regarding Barn Door Baking's public hearing.
What kind of restaurant?
Oh, Tom's got one.
It'll be breakfast and lunch
Amen.
Breakfast. Yes.
with beer and wine
Uh,
available.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay. Any other questions, comments? Don't see any hands up anywhere. All right. We'll close the public hearing for Barn Door Baking Company.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So, and with that, with that, we'll open the public hearing for Soulmates Incorporated. Or DBA Bread in the Bone. Is anybody, this gentleman in the back there? So, yeah, you could, it's a public hearing, so you can come up and state your name if you want, or you can sit quietly in the back. It's up to you. So. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Warren Bustede, and that's Warren.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
we're business partners in a new venture downtown here. So pretty excited about bringing our stuff to Main Street. So
Oh, cool.
25 years of experience in the area.
Yeah.
with various
Yeah, it's been
restaurants.
doing it a while.
So this is nothing new.
All right. Is any questions, comments for? No. All right. Well, with that, we'll close the public hearing
Look
for
forward to seeing you.
Soulmates Incorporated. All right.
Yes, appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I'm going to open the April 19th Town of Damariscotta Select Board meeting. We'll call to order. If it pleases the board, do you want to move those
Yes.
motions and move them along? So,
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license for Barn Door Baking Company.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I think Andrea got that one. She's quick. Yeah.
You beat me to the punch.
Yep. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, motion carries.
Don't see the Soulmates one listed on official action items.
It's
It is.
Well, it was in our meeting minutes.
Oh, it's public hearing, but it's not on the official.
isn't it on? Oh, it's a different.
Sorry,
Oops.
it should be there.
It
yeah.
should be, but it isn't.
Gotcha. I had them confused with the other one. I was under a different name with the catered functions, but that's
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'll make
Thank you, Josh.
a motion to approve the Soulmates Inc. Liquor license. Second.
Okay, thank you. Tom seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, there's good. Now that's nice. There's a couple places opened up again in town, so be good. All right, we do, as everybody's seen the minutes, we have three different sets of minutes. March 1st, March 15th, April 5th. Are we all good there?
Tom had
Yes.
had a minor revision to the, was it March 15th meeting, I believe?
Yeah, I think so.
And when we were talking about
Yeah.
the aquaculture,
Oh,
so I've made that change.
Okay.
For the one to sign.
Number 9 is not correct.
on the, okay, on the,
What's that?
What is the change?
Dale, can you grab that quick packet there?
you got it right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, and a couple other ones in here too.
There
so
was
we'll go
the
through.
15th, there's a change.
Item 9, IX on the 15th. No, the first.
The first, sorry.
Sorry, minutes of the first.
Think it had listed filtration as the
Salt filtration.
as a
No.
concern Tom raised, and I've
Oh, okay.
he mentioned in his email the changes that Tom was concerned about the concentration of aquaculture licenses, 16 of them within a mile of the town, which may be impacting other shellfish populations that are showing steep declines, as well as impacting other river activities.
Okay,
And then there was on the March 15th meeting, just acknowledging Sandy Day was also in attendance. And there was a question, there was a
yeah,
unknown.
the unknown entity there.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was Sandy
That was
Day.
Sandy, yeah.
And then just modified the section or was Article 3 or of the meeting there where they read, the group read into the meeting, the articles of incorporation from 175 years ago, just captured Sandy Day, had read section 4, and Fred Brewer read section 5 and 6. And then Chief
Okay.
Warlick read section 7.
And then on April 5th, Josh, you want this one? You found it?
Yeah, on the official action items, number 2. There you are, man. We're just talking about people having their phones on. And you violated the policy. Mine's on. So on official action items, the disposal of town-owned property, that should be a vote of 3-2. I did not make that motion. Tom made the motion, and I think Andrea had seconded that one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
with
concur.
Daryl and I voting in the no.
Correct. That's true.
April 5th,
Yes,
number,
official action item number 2.
that, the disposal, yeah.
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
So it was a 3-2 vote.
Yes. And Tom made the motion and Andrea seconded it.
Yep. Okay.
I think that's the only thing as I found.
I understand.
You good? And you
So-
got those?
Mhm.
Yep. So if that's, yeah, the other, I think we're all good on changes on the minutes.
Mhm.
All right.
It was.
Yeah, actually, I'll make a motion to move the minutes of March 1st, March 15th, April 5th as amended.
I'll second.
Thank you, Josh. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. All right, financial reports. We have a payroll warrant and an AP warrant. So payroll 49.
I'll move payroll warrant 49.
Thank you, Josh. I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, and there's an amendment on accounts payable 50 for retainage for Mile Street. So I'll make a motion to move AP 50 as amended with the Mile Street retainage for HEI.
Yes.
I'll second.
Thank you, Josh. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. All right. Wow. Citizen comments and general correspondence. Andy, do you have anything last minute? Anything exciting? No? All right. Anybody from the Peter, I see you back there. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I knew you came here for something.
Last time he came here, he got suckered into.
He got on the committee, yeah, so,
Committee.
yeah. Yep, come on up, into the drill. Yeah.
I think it's still afternoon.
That's
I can never
close enough.
understand where
Yeah.
afternoon stops and the evening begins. Today is April 19th. And
Did
April
you-
19th is,
Do you mind just, I don't know if you did already a name. Did you?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
My name is Peter Hackmeister. I live at 189 Biskie Road. And we've been here, my wife and I have been here about 5 years. Nice place to live.
Yeah.
April 19th is actually a really important day in the history of our country. We think about the birth of our nation being July 4th, 1776. And it is, but before there can be a birth, something else has to happen, and we'll call that conception. And in this particular case, on the morning of April 19th, 1775, something happened in Lexington, Massachusetts. We've all heard the story of Paul Revere coming to say the Redcoats are coming. But why were they doing that? What was so important? Well, the British were coming to take our guns away. We had them stashed in a farmer's barn in Concord, and the British came this way. Our guys were here in Lexington, and they just charged right through us. I think 8 people died, 10 people were wounded. They continued on to Concord. They didn't get the guns. But every year they do a reenactment of that Battle of Lexington. And a number of years ago was there, did a video of it. It's a YouTube kind of a thing. And there's an interesting picture. Here, let me get, I brought in a couple copies of this. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
That picture is sort of interesting. We all know the term ready, aim, fire. It doesn't say ready, aim, pull the trigger. It says fire. And I just happened to snap a picture just as the guy pulled the trigger, and there's actually fire that comes out of the muzzle. And that's where that term comes from. Anyway, that's sort of an interesting story about the morning of April 19th, but that's not why I came here. It's just sort of an interesting story. Because Deb and I, as an exercise routine, we walk around town. Biskie Road is sort of a lousy and dangerous road to walk on. There's no sidewalks. There's big trucks. So what we do is we get in our car, drive down to the supermarket. That's where the sidewalk starts. And we start our little routine, and Darryl sees us walking past the gas station all the time. 2 or 3 miles a day. But if you do that 5 days a week, that's 10, 12 miles a week, starts adding up fast. So in that process, we use the sidewalks and the crosswalks, but the crosswalks are painted across Main Street, but the paint is all worn out. And it's time to repaint them. We're trying to cross the street down by the bridge and on one of these sidewalks. And some guy was going by, I could see he was checking his messages on his phone, and the crosswalk, which is supposed to be nice, vivid white stripes to catch some, draw their focus, is all worn out. So I'm hoping that we're going to repaint that. That being said, our neighbors in Camden have the same kind of a thing. They paint the sidewalks or paint the crosswalks every year, and they have, it's probably a stencil that they use, and they put it at both ends of the crosswalk. And it's very simple. It says, stop, wait, wave. So there's people going by, you stop there, you look at them, you make eye contact, you wait, you
Mhm.
wave, you smile, they stop, they let you go. As long as you do that, and you're not pushing the buttons on the cell phone, you're probably safer. So I'm going to ask that we take this kind of an idea, doesn't have to be exactly like
Mhm.
this. But somebody in the town must know somebody in the Public Works Department in Camden. That's just a stencil. Can you get a copy of that stencil and just spray paint that or something like that to help make it safer to walk through our town? I think a lot of people would appreciate that.
Peter, what committee did we get you into last time you were here?
None. I appreciate.
Did we get you into the public?
I think we got him when the Antons.
Well, that's what I think we got you into public safety and accessibility. Yeah.
I'll choose to be the guy behind the green curtain.
No, these are, and I say that in jest, but it's interesting that we've presented several times with it and this exact same idea
It's
with the,
time.
yeah, so,
It's time to paint
yeah.
now in the spring.
Yeah.
The last time, I think I brought this up one other time, but they were already painted and the window has already gone by. We still haven't done it this year. And so this is a good time. I figured, well, let me just come in. I'll try and resurrect
Yeah.
this idea and maybe something will come up. The stencil couldn't be that expensive. That's probably an off the shelf thing or somebody made it. Can't be too complicated.
And you remind, we looked into this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I've reached out to the Public Works Director in Camden, but I have not heard back. But that was the intention, was to see if we could borrow it and see how we like it. And if we wanted to change it next year, we could do that. But I figured I'd start by seeing if we could borrow theirs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, no, thank you it's nice to hear
It's
from
not,
more
this-
folks. So,
This isn't
yeah.
rocket science.
Yeah. No, they need to be done and it's in the works and it's interesting. You brought in the same picture and whatnot. So we need to get you hook
I
up with
did.
Anton on the Public Safety and Accessibility Committee. So
Thank you.
they're asking for help. So keep putting your name in there. So Peter, would you like your?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Oh, all right. Any other citizen comments? No. Oh, we do. Come on up. Yeah, we'll get you. Yeah, right up here. We can get the mic over to you if you'd like to come up. It's whatever you're more comfortable with. We can get you the mic. So, yeah.
It's not my intention, but since it's a possibility, I take it.
No problem.
Thank you for giving me the attention. Talking about crosswalks,
Yeah. If you could just state your name.
Molly
Yeah.
Delaney,
Yeah. Thank you, Molly.
and
Sorry.
I live here in Damariscotta. And yeah, so a little over 2 years ago, talking about crosswalks, I was hit by a car in the crosswalk. The woman didn't see me. And thank God, I got injured, but not anything that was permanent. So I think those crosswalks are extremely important, and particularly Main Street. And when they wear off and we have teenagers, no offense to teenagers, they're on their phones, they're not paying attention. A lot of us are on our phones, not paying attention, not just teenagers. So I know I'm preaching to the choir and I'm part of the choir. So it's important to, for all of us to take responsibility. And that's the thing that I'm hoping for, is that we can have more safety in town, as obviously people are
Mhm.
needing. So thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, Molly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Not hearing any other comments or correspondence. We can move on to manager items if you'd like.
Sure.
Some capital updates for everybody.
All right, later on the agenda, we'll look to approve the bids that came in for the Hodgson Street project, that going from the upper drive of Blue Haven down to Pleasant Street. We had 2 bids come in for that. There will be just one recommendation following the engineer's review, and a slight modification on that bid amount based on the unit pricing that was provided. And we'll talk about that when it comes up. Miles Street, they're well underway. The new water line, I'm pretty sure was hooked up for the most part I think today. The old line has come out, to the best of my knowledge. And then I think starting tomorrow, they're going to try and get into that intersection at Schooner Street to try and see what they can see under the pavement with regards to that culvert.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I guess the water line going to Schooner Street goes over the culvert, and the water line going across the causeway goes under the culvert, and the sewer line's also under the culvert. So I think once they got to kind of get in there and see what's happening and
Scratch it open a little bit and see what.
Are they gonna have to open that culvert all the way up to put it in?
yes. Yeah. So it's going to get replaced and upsized. So that will start tomorrow. And so there'll be a minor detour for traffic. All traffic exiting the campus will go through that parking lot.
Right.
Traffic coming in, I think, is once they get that causeway or the intersection opened up and you can't go on a Schooner Street, you're going to have traffic go across the causeway.
Okay. Be able to open
So
up.
they're going to keep one way in and one way out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it's moving along pretty well. If anyone hasn't been down there yet,
I was
pretty
there
poppy.
today. It's impressive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, they've had a lot of drone footage that's been
Mhm.
on social media with that. Yeah, it looks pretty neat seeing it from the,
Mhm.
from the sky. So, yeah. so
I
it's
did get
nice.
some quotes for estimates rather for material testing.
Mhm.
It's something I've heard the board say before. It's in the contract that we might do that.
Yes.
Between the company that does the testing and our engineers and coordinating with them, it's estimated between 6,000 and 8,000.
Mhm.
So 1% of the project cost. I'm assuming the board's comfortable with proceeding with that to make sure it's
Yeah.
up to the specs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially where we're raising that section of road by 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
I
definitely.
didn't really understand how much it was going to be raised.
Yeah, it's significant.
It
Yeah, it's
is.
interesting to see the layers of asphalt in the lifts that have occurred over the years. When they dug that trench for the water line, I think there's at least 2 layers of asphalt below the one that was there.
Well below that. Yeah.
And you can just see they added about a foot of material almost each time.
Yeah.
Egypt and Belvedere Road, certainly a lot of calls and emails have come in about Egypt Road's condition in the interim while it was reclaimed. And so they did actually start base pave today. I don't know how far they got through heading towards from Biskie Road to Rocky Run, but they started on that end and headed that direction. As long as the weather holds and temps are good, they're going to keep going with that, and hopefully they'll have the base coat done potentially by the end of the week.
No speeding complaints though, right?
Not yet.
No, this would mean what, in the interim, there hasn't been any speeding complaints. Yeah. Dust, yeah. Yeah, oh, that's good. Oh,
And then just a couple of quick bills to maybe monitor. Some of them we've talked about before in the legislature right now. There was one being talked about that would expand the opportunities for TIF funds to potentially construct or renovate local government, municipal offices or buildings by providing that the funds may be spent for 50% of the capital costs for construction or renovation of a central administrative office. So I don't know, see where that goes, I guess, but I know we do have a TIF and we've been talking about potentially modifying that. So just something to think about. That's of interest. Last year's LD 2003, I have not read them yet. My understanding was that the rulemaking for last year's bill to improve access to housing came out last week or early this week. And so that's finally the rules that we need to be following. And then of course, there's a July 1st implementation of this law from last year. And among some of the bills in the legislature right now is one of them is to postpone that start date so that towns now have a chance with the rules being out to go to their town meetings and draft, and probably lawyers to help draft changes to their land use ordinances. So some cases need time to be able to look at that. So I know we'll have our planner who is contracted through MCOG, so they'll be able to hopefully help us navigate that process. LD 1176, it's proposed that there'd be the creation of a municipal cannabis revenue sharing. And that would direct 20% of the money credited to the adult use cannabis, public health and safety, and then a municipal opt-in fund be provided to municipalities that opted to permit some or all adult use cannabis establishments. So that would be some of those taxable revenues coming back to the towns that have opted in. I don't know if I don't think it's the first time they've proposed something like that, but we've got a few in town, and that could be a potential.
Yeah, that's one to
For
keep
us.
an eye on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
know it's something the Service Center Coalition is one of the ones they're following.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Also a bill in there to increase teachers' salaries over a few years to minimum amounts. And then enact to support law enforcement in interactions with individuals with histories of trauma. So I think that, I don't know if that ends up going forward. I haven't talked to the chief about that one yet. And I know he's involved in some statewide coalitions and groups. So it would be interesting to hear from him when he gets back from
Yeah,
vacation on that one.
Take on that one, yeah.
What it would do is it would potentially, the bill requires the Department of Public Safety to develop and implement a program to provide law enforcement officers with trauma-informed training to work with municipalities to implement a program to employ clinical social workers embedded within the municipal police departments. Certainly lots of questions in there.
So funding,
Yeah.
yeah, who's funding it?
Certainly needs that need to be addressed, but
Yeah.
how it happens is important too. So
Yeah.
Something
It'd be
to keep an eye
interesting to see the chief's take on it, what he knows about it. So.
and then the only other thing I had, Hugh had mentioned, and I remember the board saying something about the roadside cleanup efforts that have happened in the past around Earth Day.
Mhm.
So he mentioned it the other day, and I should have told you 2 weeks ago reminded you about that. And so after he mentioned, I went over and talked to some folks at Coastal Rivers Conservation Trust, and they were on board to help facilitate that. And so they advertise it on their website and put it out there. So folks are interested in doing some roadside cleanup. Bags will be provided. You can either go and get them from the police station lobby out back here or from their property. If you collect along the roadside, you can leave the bag. We'll go along and pick them up Friday and Monday. So folks are interested in helping out. And that's all I had for my notes.
So I noticed that the municipal parking lot line is shrunk,
Is it in there?
and now it's not even there at all. So I,
That's good.
it's just,
Are we
just-
getting nowhere?
It's gone from,
Progress at work, right?
sorry, I just had to point that out. I think.
My intention is to email or reach out to our EDA contact this week if we don't hear anything, but we're still waiting for the follow-up from the committee's
Yeah.
review.
Yeah.
Max is working with Leanna to get the paperwork filled out so they could be considered a
With the
co-recipient.
co-recipient, awesome.
So the plan is for them to have hopefully that put together by the end of this month, and that the commissioners, the trustees can take that up at their May meeting, and then we can get that submitted and take that part up.
I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I just figured to keep it out of there, nothing to do.
Yeah, we were catching on to the copy and paste. Okay, so we can move along here. Official action items. We've got obviously 1 and 2 out of the way. We do have the annual town meeting warrant. Assume everybody's got a chance to look at the draft.
And I provided this evening updated versions of it. The changes included renumbering the articles. We had 2 more petitions come in with the signatures
Okay.
required. And so Articles 8 and 9, Coastal Kids Preschool and Healthy Roots. Both
Oh,
get
that's
submitted.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were empty before. Some of them were empty before.
Yeah. So that, and this was my understanding from the last meeting, but we would put on the secret ballot all of those requests in
Yeah.
addition to the elected officials.
Yeah.
And then we also have the cemetery ordinance on there. It's Article 3, just minor revisions to that.
The revisions, yeah.
And then the rest of it was all the budget articles were written to see what sum and include the budget committee and the select board's recommendations.
Great.
And the budget committee members are there. All of them have expressed the desire to fill seats. We do have
Okay.
2 alternate seats that'll be available that no one came forward with before. So the board, if someone comes forward, the board will appoint them
We can appoint,
until the
yeah.
next election. And then the cemetery trustee, the way it's written, that's elected off the floor. Whereas again, the other ones are nominated by the board. So.
Yeah.
Any questions on that or typos or issues?
Well, good to me.
Good.
No, it looked good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There'll
No,
there'll be a version in that clip packet there to sign.
Okay, yeah.
Before you leave tonight, so we can get that out, and Becky will send that off, I think, tomorrow potentially for the. Make sure we get it back in time for absentee ballots to go out.
Oh, because they was supposed to go out in May, right?
Yeah, 30 days before. It's a few weeks lead time to get things printed as everyone's, a lot of towns are trying to go through the same printer, so.
sounds good. I'll make a motion to move or approve the town meeting warrant as presented this evening.
I'll second.
Thank you, Josh. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Darryl, we might want to go back to number 2 because it's catering functions. from-
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Josh. Yeah, because we had one.
And I only saw those, is it all one thing?
Thank you for
It's
that.
just for one. night.
One
Yeah.
company, Stove Cove Catering, operating under, is it Mauer?
Yeah,
Or doing business as Stone Cove Catering, but they're Mauer and Partners Corp. They're doing 3 events.
but I
So-
only saw in that packet, I think it was just
I only saw one
one
date. That's it.
with like
I
the
saw
same thing, so. I'm
Yeah,
just making
there's-
sure there's nothing out to my place or our place,
There is.
is, so. There is. Yeah, so I won't be participating,
Yeah, Lakehurst is on.
yeah,
Functions.
so I'll be sitting this one out.
That's fine. Yeah, okay.
Oh, I see what I did.
You put 3 copies of the same one.
I did in the packet. Yeah, in the,
Oh, okay.
so there's one, for-
Yeah, but what you sent out, I think on the.
Yeah,
Email,
yeah,
right.
what he sent
The
me,
email was
Yeah.
The email address,
Yeah.
we're fine. Yeah, okay.
exactly.
All right.
I'll be taking a back seat.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay.
All right, so we've got one event on May 10th at Lakehurst Lane, an event August 9th at 87 Main Street. And then an event October 11th at 277 Main Street. 2 of those are business after hours and one of them is a company banquet.
Yeah, okay. So it's the 3 events with the same Moore and Partners, right? Same months. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the application for catered function, 3, applications for catered functions for Moore and Partners Corporation.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion? All those in favor? 3, Josh abstains. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. I skipped right over that, so.
That's what I'm here for.
Yep. Say, I to keep you down the end there. All right. We're gonna move on to Hodgson Street right now, correct?
Yep.
Okay, does everybody have a chance to look at the
Yep.
bid and the bid specs? Okay. Do we need any
Nope.
discussion or any questions?
So yeah, what came back from, as I started saying earlier, with the engineer's review, he's recommending, confirmed with the contractor and is now recommending that, because the unit pricing is both ways, that we install the signs ourselves.
Gotcha.
The unit pricing was $1,500 per sign, for sign purchase and installation. I think we're looking at somewhere between 2 and 250 probably. And there's, I believe, 4 of them.
Yeah, we can do that in-house
We'll
then.
Do that
Just
in-house
do
and
it in-house.
reduce the approved contract amount by removing the signposts and stop sign and posts. And as well, I guess all signs, sorry. The stop sign and then there's some share the roads, slow, narrow road ahead.
Okay.
But we'll remove all signs from that contract.
Fair enough. Do I hear a motion on Hodgson Street contract?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the Hodgson Street contract.
Yep. And just want to have less
Sorry.
make sure you reference the cost of sign installation. Yeah, you can read it off if you want.
To award Hager Enterprises the Hodgson Street improvements contract less the cost of the sign installation.
Thank you, Andrea. Tom seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, yep, okay. Motion carries. All right. There we get some business out of the way there. Okay, so we're gonna, we'll table action item 4 for right now until after our executive session. And we can move on to some discussion items. We have a review of the hearing conservation policy.
What's that?
Yeah. Was that? Can you hear it? The hearing? Funny guy.
Oh, yeah.
So I try to keep things light in here, but nobody's laughing. Thank you, man.
We got one.
Yeah.
We have one at the fire department.
Yeah, so you want to do some background on this
Sure.
at all, or?
Yeah, so this came out of one of the visits from the Bureau of Labor.
Mhm.
You know, asking for them to help us go through part of the shape certification. So we're going down that checklist. We're still at the very beginning of it, but one of the things on there was to identify if there was a need for hearing conservation policy. We requested their consultant or their staff member come out and do some tests with us and get decibel readings of the equipment and
Yep.
understand what the exposure is there for the employees working around that equipment, and did identify that we need to implement a policy. And so this was a first draft of it. Most of it is largely modeled off of theirs.
Yep.
But as a first draft, if folks wanted to look through it, if anything jumps out, it'll require us to do I guess audible tests for our workers working in that department each year. As well as the other things there. So the record keeping and all of that. So all of this is in an effort to try and get that department compliant with the shape
Yeah.
certification.
So did this include all of the items from the state list, or did you take some out?
That list would be what the state had as a model.
Okay. Looks good to me.
Yeah, no, it's, we appreciate you bringing things up to speed and health and safety, so.
We do need to, still need to get scheduled the hearing test now for the one employee and potentially myself. But just to get a baseline.
Baseline,
Then we'll go from there. But if we want to consider that at a future meeting to adopt that policy, but for the first read.
This is the draft anyway.
Take a look, yeah.
Don't think, Randy. Looks good so far. Yeah. And public vending ordinance.
Yes.
So that one there.
So there was some,
We read that again the other day.
right before the conservation.
Yeah, where do we hide that in
There
here?
was some conversation again. We talked a little bit about it back when Pumpkin Fest happened. There was some questions about mobile vendors setting up on Main Street for that event. There was one person that had gotten the license to do the vending.
Yeah.
Most of the other ones that had reached out to us were nonprofits or owned the brick and mortar adjacent to where they were setting up. So as the way the ordinance currently reads, they'd be exempt from this. One thing that there's I guess the second and third paragraphs are a little bit repetitive, but also
Yeah.
maybe a little needing some clarification.
It's a little messy.
Yeah, and just see if I can find it quick. There was one part in there that George and I kind of went back and forth on, and I talked to the police chief because they're in charge of enforcing it. But the way it was described in the traffic and parking ordinance with the business district is it goes from the bridge to basically NC Hunt, includes, I believe, Keen Woods, and all roads connecting to.
That's what
So there's very
yeah.
few roads that actually you'd be doing this on. And I don't, I think it's just worth revisiting.
Yeah,
We need to clean this up a little
no,
bit.
we talked about that. Yeah, you brought it to our attention last year or before Pumpkin Fest, and it was, yeah, it's kind of a messy ordinance.
When I think trying to understand, I mean, part of what I was understanding when this was written, in some ways was to minimize outside vendors coming in, where do we put them? The parking lot's congested, Main Street's congested, is there a location that would be
Yeah.
suitable? When you look at the parking and traffic ordinance, it talks about street parking lot as in the definition. And so that's what George and I were kind of back and forth on is what is street parking lot? I'm assuming it means street parking spaces. It talks about sidewalks and parking spaces was my guess, but the way we're reading it, it could be interpreted that you can't even do it in a parking lot of a commercial business. In in my mind and George's mind, we were thinking like, well, isn't that the most suitable place? It's already got a commercial use. It's already got
Right,
parking
right.
areas.
Right.
And so it's just kind of bringing that to your attention. Something to think about if you have thoughts or further context on its creation and amendment in 2016. It'd be helpful, but we're going to plan to redraft some of this and
Yeah.
potentially actually try and fold it in what we've been talking about for a few years now, I guess, for the town as a business licensing ordinance potentially. So I think that's another thought is, do we roll that into this as a part of a business license, mobile vending? We do the marijuana license, business licensing as well. So kind of potentially identifying all of that in one place.
What I don't like about this ordinance is that, you get down to the in consideration 1, 2, and 3, and it gives the board power. Very gray areas to pick and choose who vends where.
Right.
It's all whether the sale of products would create a nuisance, the health and safety. It's very ambiguous, and it gives the select board the power to pick and choose who goes where, and that's
You'd rather see that like funnel through like the code office or?
well, yeah, I mean, that puts, it needs to be clear cut and what the
Sure.
guidelines are. Yeah, it's very open to the whims of the day type of thing. So, yeah, it's definitely worth revisiting. I appreciate you looking into it. And what is the fee scale, the fee right now for a vending license, Andy?
I believe it's
$100.
I believe it's
No.
50,
Yeah, okay, I thought it was, yes, 50, right?
right?
And-
There's a
and
penalty for
that's-
100, but I believe on our fee schedule, it's $50. And
That's
you
for-
can choose to do it one day out of the year or all year.
So it's open-ended, it's
For the
50
$50.
flat rate for when.
Right.
Gotcha.
It's just not
Yeah,
real clear where you're going to be doing this unless you own the brick and mortar or are
Yeah.
nonprofit.
Right.
Yeah, it needs to be cleaned up.
No, fair enough. And he's definitely needs revision. So cool. Thank you.
You entertain the public comment.
We can, yeah. You gotta come up to the, tell you your name and you know the drill. Yeah. I'll entertain you, Peter.
Peter Drum, I was just listening to that. One thing some towns have found important is to set a time limit if because one of the problems you get into is they park up the main street and then they just leave it there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It becomes their de facto retail location. So
Yeah. Yes, sir.
yeah. So I would just put in time. So I think it's a good ad.
Yeah, thank
Done
you.
that for a few times, so. Just my
We,
feeling.
I think we're in agreement. Yeah, everything just, it's kind of a messy ordinance and it was thrown in there kind of very quickly. Yeah. So,
Back
awesome.
in 2016 though.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we can go through, either do selectmen's item now, or we can move into executive session.
Good if we could do.
Excuse me.
Now.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
hi, Lou.
Hi, sorry, I've been trying to get in for the last half hour.
Of our missing select board members on Zoom there. So you haven't missed much, Lou. Welcome. We're just getting caught up here. I'll bring you up to speed. So
Thank
we're just gonna do a board discussion at this moment. Tom, we can start down here with you if you need to bring up.
Yeah.
Evening.
There's the minutes of the Shellfish Committee in there and
Yes.
it was very interesting. And it appears that a number of people that were in the meeting, including the director of the Darling Center, are interested in pursuing more research to determine the potential causes of the decline in the shellfish population, particularly soft shell clams. And surprisingly to me anyway, because I've dealt with them before, but the Department of Marine Resources attended. They had two people there and they were both positive about looking at those impacts, including they seem to be receptive to the idea there might be too much concentration there. So in the area 1 mile from town,
yeah.
there's 16 licenses
Right,
and it's
for
aquaculture.
for agriculture in general,
No, they're there. I mean, they're
Oh, okay.
farming oysters.
So the oyster.
for the oysters.
Yeah. So there's a concentration there that we think is, or some people think, including the people that farm. One guy has been doing it for 46 years and he's down there almost every day and he sees what's going on. But there's thoughts that the aquaculture concentration of it may be impacting shellfish, other shellfish. Because the decline has been reported by both the state and by Darling. So any case, I'd like to take the lead for the board in doing more research and talking to other towns that have considered putting in moratoriums and find out what they've found to be the case and why they're reacting the way they are, and also talking to potentially the aquaculture people at the state of Maine, as well as the Darling Center people. And then report back to the board.
Yeah,
I
we
think-
asked for information, and if Tom's available to do that, and
That's-
gather the information and
Yeah.
bring it back to us.
Yeah, that's what I
I
think
think
we're
that
currently in the information gathering. So I'm fine with, we keep researching it.
Who's Bob Wallace?
Bob Wallace is a fellow that's been doing, not recreational, commercial farming. He goes and picks the
Clamming.
oysters, clamming and oysters.
Wild oysters, yeah.
Gotcha.
On potentially, well, mainly in Houston Cove, which is the end of Westview.
Right.
Because that's the largest flat on the river. And that's where preponderance of shellfish, wild shellfish is in that location.
Right,
And the whole river.
right.
So he's been farming there for 46 years.
But he had some
He's also
very,
vice chair of the Shellfish Committee.
okay, because he had very strong negative comments about oyster farming. Like,
Where,
he said we should shut down the oyster farmers.
where was this?
It's in the notes.
Oh, well, I think,
Yeah.
he's a man of few words and maybe they've got misinterpreted, but he's definitely concerned about the state's heretofore, in his view, lack of consideration for the farmers. I mean, there's been a lot of emphasis on agriculture, but the farmers who basically make a living doing this, he feels haven't been heard. Some of the concerns haven't been heard, but I don't think anybody's advocating, or the majority of the people that were there, nobody's advocating ending aquaculture. What we're potentially talking about is not adding any more licenses to that area, because there's 19 miles of river and plenty of same quality water downriver. In fact, some of the farms are downriver and they're quite successful. And so rather than, we're going to do two things. Is one, studied what the potential impacts of aquaculture are on farming. Talk to the other towns, talk to the state, look at any pending applications and have them brought to the board for consideration, and, bring in the harbor committee into this action as well.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things going on, but I'd like to.
Yeah,
Sure.
currently right now, just to clarify, currently right now, we're looking for information. So
Right,
the board
right.
doesn't have I want to say we don't have a position
No,
on this. We're just looking for information. So I just want to clarify that. And I'm okay with Tom, keeping, looking for some information. I believe the Shellfish Committee was going to meet again, but that was in the fall, right?
Right.
So maybe between then and now.
well, there's some
something
people, like I said,
will-
that in the meeting, including the state, that would do things now and until.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. We can keep gathering information, the more we know.
Okay.
So,
I'll-
yeah.
I'll bring it
Thank you,
back,
Tom. Okay, yeah, put in the loop. So, Andrea,
I don't have anything today.
Josh?
Just let you know, it is Little League season again, and of course, I'm coaching again.
You playing
so
again?
I'm not playing, I'm
Okay.
way past my prime.
Yeah.
So you guys will see me on rainouts, but you won't see me when the weather's good,
Yeah.
so for the next 2 months, it's gonna be hit
Just let me, yeah, just keep.
hit or miss.
Yeah.
We'll be passing a
keep
lot of
track
stuff
of those.
through then. You gotta get a lot of things on the agenda, get them.
Yeah, get them through while I'm gone,
Yep.
so if I'm not here, you know where I'm at.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, just remind me. Oh, yeah.
But I will remind you.
Yep.
And I think that is pretty much it for me.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Lou, I didn't forget about you up there.
No,
Anything to add?
no.
He's good. All right. And I myself, I don't have anything to add for this evening. What, for those of you who aren't familiar, we're going to, Peter, yes, go ahead.
Final question before you go on.
Yeah.
My understanding from George was that you guys were going to discuss this tonight, and that may be your executive session, which is fine. Are you planning on discussing it after that? Like after the
Possibly.
briefing?
That's what I was just gonna state.
Okay.
So we're gonna go into an executive session. And I assume there's some folks here that are
Yeah.
Sure. So I suppose they want to hang out in the lobby or
Preferably outside.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's too, well, yeah,
that's
I didn't know where to
fine.
pick them out to. So,
We
yeah.
brought
and-
glasses to put against. the
And
wall.
we'll come out of, once we come out of executive session,
Yeah.
there's actions there. We'll let, we'll bring you back in. So,
And,
Yeah,
and just for the record, I'm going to recuse myself from the executive session and any decision making on this issue.
Yeah.
So-
fair enough. So, okay. Yeah. Cool. So, so we're going to make a motion here in a minute, but if everybody wants to kick you all out, sorry.
Come on out.
So, we're going to shut down Jeff and then we can, once we adjourn, we'll just record what we need to. So, yeah.
But then
Oh.
And to move into an executive session for 5-6H. I have a second.
a second.
Andrew seconds. Any discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
I.
Motion carry, Lou? Yeah, I spoke.
Yes.
Motion carried. So, Josh, if you could just sign. Yep, so. We'll give you guys a shout.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear Lou, but I've gone, let me see,
I guess it's just you and I.
what in the heck? How are you?